think one of your other most beloved songs is Ain't Got No Home. But I can't sing it like you can.
But everybody loved that, you know, and especially when I switch my voice like a girl, and then when I do it like a frog.
Well, how'd you get the idea for that song?
It happened way back in 1955. I was playing in Gretna, Louisiana, at a club called the Joy Lounge, and we was working overtime. Eddie Smith was the band leader, and I respect my band leader, but I was tired. We had them played about 8 hours, and it's early in the morning, and the place was packed. The little place must have was about 10 by 12 or whatever. The people didn't want to go home, and I just hit a riff on the piano. Say, ain't got no home. The chicken ain't got no home. The frog ain't got no home. The girl, you know, because why I was singing like a girl because of Shirley and Lee. You know, we didn't have a female in the band, so I had to switch my voice like a girl and sing Let the Good Time Roll.
One of the things about New Orleans and Louisiana is there's so many different kinds of music here.
Well, most of the artists in New Orleans, they don't play no one style music, you know. When we were playing, we played Dixieland, opera, hillbilly, country, Cajun, any kind of music, you know. Right.
What's that, the doorbell?
That's the doorbell. You would come this time.
Oh, yeah?
I'm surprised my wife don't. You can snap the door for him.
All right. I was just having a look at a couple more pictures, and I'm here during the tail end of JazzFest, which is a huge event every year in New Orleans, and there's a picture of you with Quint Davis.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Quint and I go back a long way, you know, and I have a lot of respect for Quint. And I haven't played the JazzFest in 2 years. My price went up. They haven't paid it in 2 years, but this time I was in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where I got married over there, and I was with my wife, and they called me and said, we want you to play the JazzFest this year, and we're going to pay your price, you know. Because I've been out there 55 years, and I demand the right price.
Yeah, well, when you want quality, you got to pay for it.
Right,
yep.
Right. And went over good yesterday. I really enjoyed, but I always enjoy the crowd, you know, at the JazzFest and elsewhere, you know.
People here, the musicians, they play all kinds of music. Why do you think it is there's so many different kinds of music, from Zydeco, jazz, R&B, you name it?
Because you have so many different people here in Louisiana. You know, right down the bayou, you got Zydeco, it's similar to bluegrass, but it's Cajun music, you know. And then you got rhythm and blues, you got the blues, you got Dixieland, and when you come out to be an artist during my years, back in the 50s and the 40s, you had to sing everything for different people. And down in the French Quarter, you might have any kind of people that love different kind of music, and that you have to entertain them.
And you sang for many years in the French Quarter, is that correct?
21 years I was down there.
Years.
Yeah, the Coda Two Sister Opera House, the Strata, 500 Backstage, you name it, I've been there.
I'm sure you have a lot of stories, and you've seen a lot of crazy things.
I've seen a lot, you know, and I've seen a lot of artists, you know, entertainers to come down there, movie stars and different things happening down in the French Quarter.
Of the songs that you have recorded, is there one in particular that's a favorite of yours?
Well, I got 3 favorites.
All right.
Ain't Got No Home, What I Do, and You Always Hurt the One You Love.
You Always Hurt the One You Love. Tell us about that song.
Well, what happened when we got Ain't What I Do, well, during that time you had to get a fire up to But I Do. And Leonard Chess sent a song down for me to learn was I'm a Fool to Care. And I'm learning the song before we could record it. Joe Berry came out with it. And so we start scrambling. And Leonard Chess sent for Alan Toussaint and myself up to Chicago. And we got a band up there and we recorded You Always Hurt the One You Love. That's how we got that number. That would cover up behind But I Do.
In addition to the music of New Orleans, every time I come here, I always end up eating a tremendous amount of food. I don't know why that is.
Because
Actually,
New Orleans is made up of all kind of food. You know, that red bean and rice, the white bean and rice and all that. The seafood, they're known for their seafood. and also for their steaks and different things, the seasoning of the food,
Yeah. What is your personal favorite meal here, and what is your favorite restaurant to eat at?
New Orleans hamburger, Red Lobster, I used to eat at Copeland, but
Copeland's,
they closed. Yeah, they closed down. And then over here, when I want a sandwich or some chicken, I go to Chubby's or Popeye.
Now, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the Beatles. Now, you said that Paul McCartney, that was your guy.
Right.
What was that experience like? You played all those shows with the Beatles, the most famous rock band in history.
Well, I don't get excited over entertainers. The only one I got excited over, really, truthfully, was Fats Domino. I thought that some guy was Fats Domino in New Orleans, and he was, I would call it fat, and he had diamonds and gold chains and things. But he was a ball owner. His name was Leroy. But I met Fats in 1956 at the 496 Musician Hall. My manager, Bob Astor, and I. And when I saw Fat, I was really excited,
Yeah.
And I was only like 19 years of age, and that would made me feel so good. But with the Beatles, I didn't know the Beatles was going to be as great as they were. I mean, we set records with the Beatles.
Yeah.
We went everywhere. A lot of places they put us out, the city, like Boston,
Right.
New Orleans, and some places else, quite a few cities. And the crowd was different. They had doctors and ambulance and everything at the concerts. And I never forget Kansas City. The guy had the Beatles to do an extra show, and he paid them well, But Paul and I and the guy that sang with Bill Black combo, we was real good threesome, the Three Musketeers. We had a lot of fun on the tour.
I wanted to ask you also about, a lot of people call him a young man, even though he's, I think, 63 now. His name is Jimmy Buffett. And he loves this city, and he loves the Frogman.
I love Jimmy Buffett. I met Jimmy in California. He made sure he came to that club on the Sunset Strip. We played. That's when I first met him. And then down in Alabama, that's where he from, Muscle Shore, somewhere on the shore. And he was at the Madison Square Garden. And he followed me, and I followed him, And now he got a club in New Orleans. We're just great friends.
We're going to take you back to our interview with Clarence Frogman Henry, recorded in his home in the great state of Louisiana.
You mentioned a second ago, and I want to get your advice. Meeting Fats Domino tomorrow, and I'm a little nervous, but excited about it.
Fats Domino is a down-home guy. He gets off a little bit, but he's real down-home.
Yeah.
And he's very shy.
Yeah.
And I used to be shy too until they had the civil sheriff here in New Orleans had me going around speaking to the school children, and now I can't shut up my mouth.
What is it, in your personal opinion, what do you think music is supposed to do?
Music is set people's lives. There's all different kind of music, and I've known a lot of people I put together with I Don't Know Why I Love You, But I Do. And ain't got no home, because guys used to come on Bourbon Street with a lady and go back home and they get married and all that, by me entertaining them. Just like I go out at the JazzFest and I get a lot of response back. When you walk through the door, I would just sign autograph for some guy,
Yeah. What is it you like about music?
I love it. I love music. My life is centered around music. My daddy, he was a musician, but a homemade musician. My daddy had never taken a day of lesson, but he can play any kind of string instrument, harmonica, piano, you name it, he plays it.
Well, it's been a great pleasure to talk to you, but I have one more question. This broadcast goes out all over the world.
Right.
And Clarence Frogman Henry has fans all over the world. There are people who know your music from movies, from records, and people who have memories from seeing you sing. What do you want to say to all your fans?
Well, to my son in Sweden, his name when I went to Sweden, these guys were playing like Liberace,
Uh-huh.
And after I left Sweden, and from now on, I had them over here jump for joy, you know.
Mm.
And when he sang nothing but New Orleans music, and he sounded like the Frog, you know. He played all Frogman music, and I met so many people around the world. Down in New Zealand, I met some sisters down there who were group singers. In England, you know, I met different guys, Danny and Helen Shapiro and all those people. You know, it was a joy to meet these different kind of entertainers. To my people around the world, it's a pleasure entertaining you.
And it has been a pleasure to talk to you and welcome you back a second time. Thank you.
My pleasure, Paul.
Rocket.